Today we're going to be talking about the UNPL singles draft league that I upload every single Saturday on this channel. This is the team that I drafted. We're a little bit over halfway through the season, and while I really do like a lot of the mons on my team, this is actually only my second singles draft league ever. I'm still pretty inexperienced when it comes to this sort of stuff. And I don't actually think I drafted the right type of mons to play in this like pseudo Ubers hybrid format. Realistically, we've played I think 4 weeks on the channel, and I just keep getting pinned by like double scarf teams, and everyone just basically keeps taking advantage of the fact that my Palkia origin has to hold its globe so it cannot have an item. So you may be thinking like that, so what are you doing? Are you throwing in the towel? Are you calling it quits? What are you really doing here? Well, I'm not calling it quits. I'm not throwing in the towel. What I'm actually here to announce is I've made some changes to my team, and you can actually make up to 5 mon swaps in a draft season. So what I actually did is I went into, the depths of what makes me a good singles player, I believe, and I found mons that really resonated with that playstyle that I could use to win no matter how many Ubers, no matter how many things are stacked against me. I wanted to find mons that I could play with, that I could win with, that I really like using, that don't really take into account how much better or how much of an advantage my opponent has. So that's what I've done. I've actually traded out my Palkia, I've traded out my Volcarona, I've traded out my Blissey, I've traded out my Deoxys, and my Quagsire, which leaves me with Scizor, Mimikyu, Zoroark, Toedscruel, Squawkabilly, Rotom, and Houndoom, which means I can add 5 brand new mons to my team. So what we're going to be doing here is going over those 5 mons, going over the whole new team, and just kind of talking about a little bit of my, first week with the new team's matchup, which is going up against a very solid opponent. So let's just talk about the changes that I have made. That is going to be right here. This is the new team for the Baton Rouge Butterfrees in the UNPL Singles Draft League for the rest of the season. It's going to be a sand core using some of my favorite mons. We've substituted out our Palkia for Excadrill. We've substituted out our Volcarona for Keldeo. We've substituted out our Blissey for a Tyranitar. We've substituted out our Deoxys for a Mandibuzz. And then we've substituted out most of what Quagsire was for Hippowdon. This actually leaves me with a few extra points. I think I had used all my points in my initial draft, and now the way I have it is I actually have like 5 extra points, but I couldn't really change out any more mons. And I've also made it so Mandibuzz, I believe, is my Terra Captain because I substituted out Quagsire as my team captain. So this is going to be a sand team, and I really like the way this is looking. I'm very comfortable with sand. I've said it for years. Sand is my favorite weather. I'm really comfortable with like Tyranitar, Hippowdon. If anyone's been following me for, most of my Pokemon career knows in singles, when it comes time to win, I bust out the T-Tar Excadrill. I go into the Hippowdons. Things like Scizor, Zoroark are still really good, but like Keldeo is one of my favorite sweepers as well. And so, yes, if you actually compare my team to most of the other teams in the league, it looks like I've taken a step back. I dropped things like Volcarona and Palkia, 2 of like the best Pokemon in the draft, in my opinion. I think in like a vacuum, these are like some of the best Pokemon in the league, hands down, for some comfort picks. And I hopefully can get the right amount of value out of it. When I was looking for substitutions to be made, I realized that like all of my favorite Pokemon, like my favorite Gen 5 Sandstorm team of like T-Tar, Excadrill, Keldeo, Zoroark, it's just no one drafted those mons, and I was like, this is free. I'm going to take this. So if we win any more games in the rest of the season, good, because I'm trying my best. And if we lose, I think I'm able to lose without that salt because I'm trying my best with mons that I like. I want to show you guys the team that I'm going to be using for the first week with the new team. If you remember, like last week, we played our last set of games with the Deoxys version, and Deoxys had a good send out. We beat the Lugia team, so that was pretty good stuff. What we're gonna be doing now is taking a look at the next week's matchup versus Dapper. I think their team is gonna be right here. You can see their changes. They actually made some changes too. They're rocking Kyurem Black, and this is one of the commissioners in the league. Super solid player. I will say that I think that my team has a really good matchup on paper. If you're building your team around like Glamora, Kyurem Black, Goldango, Chi-Yu, Excadrill kind of tears that apart. So we'll see how this one goes. I think the main thing I'm trying to avoid here is getting locked into like, or getting outsped by like weird Scarf Mons. Also, they added a Cobalion to their team. It's a great Mon into my team, so we'll see if that sees play. But Cobalion has the same base speed as Keldeo. So if we rock a Choice Scarf Keldeo full speed, we can at least get speed ties. And so the rest of the Mons I'm going to be using here is going to be a Life Orb Excadrill with enough speed to outspeed Scarf Cobalion. We're rocking a Life Orb T-Tar. This guy at a +1 has enough speed to outspeed... Well, it's not Cobalion. It's Ninetales. It's a Scarf. It outspeeds Ninetales if you get a +1 from a Dragon Dance. So if they pivoted Ninetales to take away your Sandstorm, you Dragon Dance, you can then Stone Edge and just absolutely dump truck them. Standard eject button Hippowdon. I think this guy's probably going to be one of my MVPs for week 1 or the first week that I get to use this. I really, really like eject button on these weather teams. You guys see it in all the singles videos I do. Being able to pivot, mitigate damage, activate your weather, and then repin them with brand new weather, that is unbelievably broken. It's like the only way to do like 2 or 3 things in one turn. It's like equivalent of chess when you have like your bishop like going all the way diagonal across the board and you have like a knight right there. And so when your knight like puts something in like a check or pins something else and now your bishop repins something else, it's basically the equivalent of that. It's the only way to do more than like one thing in one turn. You play defensively, you reactivate your weather, and you get that repin. I really, really like Hippowdon on this team. We're also going to be rocking a Scarf Scizor, which again has enough speed to outspeed that Ninetales. Since we are Scarf, so like we can just come in and Iron Head the Ninetales. We're good into Kyurem, we're good into Glamora, things like that. That's great. I'm rocking a Focus Sash Zoroark in case they want to swing hard with Kyurem. This is also pretty good if they wanted to go like Cobalion. If they go with Cobalion, we have the Ground Terror to pin things like Cobalion. Ground Terror is going to be able to pin Chi-Yu and stuff like that. Also, we're rocking Special Sweeper Ground Terror, so the idea with this thing is going to be able to try and like bait Glamora so I don't actually activate Toxic Spike. So if I disguise this as like Scizor off the rip, they might like pivot in Glamora thinking like I'm going to U-turn, they're going to get a free Toxic Spikes, and if I just read that and throw out the fat like Terra Blast Ground, that could be really, really good. So I do think this is actually really cool. It outspeeds most of them on their team. It's going to be hopefully pretty valuable. And again, we already went over the Keldeo. I really do like the Keldeo on this team. So that being said, I still have 4 weeks left in the season. I play Dapper this week. I play against... Actually, the last like 3 of the last 4 opponents are like ranked like 1st, 3rd, and 5th in the whole league. So I have some of the hardest opponents left, which means I'm going to have to do my absolute best for this one. But I do think that like these are changes I'm really, really comfortable with. These are Mons that I really like using. I've also nicknamed all my Mons this week. So like I'm trying my best. I'm actually starting to have a really, really good time. So I just wanted to make this little update video so it doesn't come out of left field when there's like a whole new team next week. So if you guys like these changes, let me know. If there's any sets you want to see me feature in some of these weeks, let me know. And other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you all for the support. You know, this channel just recently got partnered on YouTube. We just hit 1,000 subscribers. We're making a bunch of videos. We're doing a bunch of stuff, and I have so much cool Pokemon content to make on this channel. Like, yeah, I know a lot of you guys that come and watch this channel are fans of my VGC channel, but like I really feel like that this is the channel that we can make like Nuzlocke, we can make like tier list videos, any hype around the new Legends game or Pokemon what is it, Champions or whatever. We can make that here, and I can experiment and make the sort of content that I think is fun and educational without potentially getting like my main channel, you know, penalized for thinking a little bit too outside the box. So I just want to say thank you all for the support on this channel. Wish me luck in the rest of the UNPL, and other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, and I'll see you guys next time.